They are taking our kids every day. I shout them in and no one has a thing to say for those who have been isolated. Don't be worried, you have a voice today. So listen up everyone, here is the story. Child Protective Services is real. CPS is what they call it. They want our kids because it fills a lot of people's wallet. We all think it won't be us. We say when they come we will be so tough. It all sounds good when there's no one to take them. But when they come, your voice gets to breaking. Stay calm, step away. CPS ain't taking no one today. We are educated. Stay calm, step away. CPS, you need to leave. I know the tricks up your sleeve. You can't do what you're trying to do. We've done our homework. Don't do a damn thing without a warrant. You no longer will steal our kids this way. Tiff and the Punisher have come for the calling. They are giving us the CPS warning. Their voice is loud and clear. We stop losing our kids this year. Tiff wants to fight the entire planet. She is tired of our kids being taken, goddammit. She's been fighting CPS for 30 years, bringing children home from this disgusting mess. The Punisher is screaming out loud, abolish CPS and tear it down. I want all our kids to come back. Look at all those kids' pictures held up like thin tags. Together we are stronger than we need. We will tear down CPS with high speed. We will do so much being together. Birds of a feather flock together. So watch out CPS, here we come. Picking you one by one. We promise to bring back the family and prosecute the caseworkers unhandily. So give us back the kids you have taken. Tiff and the Punisher sending you all on a vacation. The one with bars in the windows and the only games you play are on Nintendos. Corruption in courts, here we come. We won't stop until it's done. You judges need to learn what you stand for. This is Tiff and the Punisher warrior, and we cry out to all of you out there. We need support for a cause that many don't care. All children are being stolen way too often. So CPS, we plan on doing the stopping. Stop.
Woo. Man, I look like Little Red Riding Hood.
That's okay.
We did it. We made it.
We did.
I always feel like Mr. Rogers, you know, when I come in. I'm like, oh, let me change up my thing, put my sweatshirt on, change my shoes, go back and forth. You know?
It's okay. We're good.
Wow. All right. So how are we doing?
We're doing. Well, it's not as hot as it was yesterday.
We're at 77 here right now.
It's not so much the heat, it's the humidity.
Yeah. Gets to your joints as you get older. You know that's true too.
It is.
Oh, Chris, I hope your son's okay. Look at this. This here is a bag of batteries.
Oh my.
Yeah, you never know when you're going to need double A's. It's my emergency bag. I go
But
through every 6 months. Every 6 months I get those out and I test them and make sure that they're still good.
it depends on what you need them for. Because
Yeah,
over
that's true.
here, I take them out of toys and tell them they're broke.
Yeah, so they last twice as long. That's funny. Oh no. Oh, that's a bummer. That's tough. Chris's son's at Cambridge Mental. That's not good.
Oh
Hopefully he'll
my!
be okay. Man, that's tough.
Our prayers go out to you.
Mm-hmm. For sure. And everybody else is watching too, I'm sure. I think that's CPS driven too. I'm pretty positive. That's awful, man. That's the stuff they get done. That's the stuff they get away with, you know? I mean, that's almost like, as soon as you get a case, it's, immediately if you're in a relationship, they immediately want to go down the road of domestic violence. Immediately they go, oh, domestic violence, and they'll corner you and they'll corner her and they'll be like, you okay? Are you this? And hell, half the women they'll make convinced that, they are in a domestic relationship, and the other half, think that they got to do this or they're not going to get, you're not going to get your kids back if you don't leave your man. If you don't leave him, then we're never going to give you your kids back. You never see him again. And they get away with this shit. Like how many relationships are ended because of CPS? I wonder what the statistic is for that. How many relationships end because of a CPS interaction?
Oh, probably 90% of them. But here's the thing. I don't know what your wedding vow said, but mine said, what God brought together, let no man tear apart.
Right.
And not only that, there is when Nancy Pelosi was in, they
Yeah.
signed a marriage act that protected marriages, and that falls under religion.
Right. Oh, okay. So it protects you under the Constitution then.
Correct.
Oh, wow. I didn't know. Wow, I had no idea about that.
Yeah, because most ceremonies are
Yeah.
done in churches, and it's all about God.
Right. I mean, you're right. You're making that marriage under God, under His watch. Yeah. Absolutely. Wow. Freedom of religion. That's a good one. I never. You know what? That never even put a thought in my mind about that. If it was freedom of religion or, any of those things. That's really cool. That's some good information right there.
Darren, did you watch any of my videos before we became partners?
Of course, not like that kind of partner, but yes, of
I
course I
talked
watch
about that.
videos. Tiff, do you know how well my brain works?
Yeah, I
I
do.
mean, it works good, but sometimes it gets a little foggy in there. I consider remembering my name a good day. You don't remember which video it was that you sent me either that said that marriage is under the freedom of religion.
But I titled it. I titled all of them.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and check right now. I'm going to look at my email and I'm going to check. I'm going to go into freedom of religion is what I'm going to do here. And I'm going to see if I have an email from you that says freedom of religion.
Oh, no. It's not in the email. I did a video before you and I became partners on the religion part of marriage. They cannot tell you have to leave your marriage.
Right, and that's your defense, though, is what you're saying? Is that you can use the
It's
Constitution,
freedom of
obviously.
religion, right?
Right.
And there's an actual law now that the Democrats did pass, and it's the Marriage Protection Act.
Mm-hmm.
Look
And
that up.
Marriage Protection Act.
Yes.
Okay. Marriage.
It might have been in 2023. It was a year. It might have been a couple months before Pelosi retired, but it did pass.
Miss Plastic herself. I'll tell you what, I hated that woman with a passion, but man, she looked good for 200 years old.
You could tell she had false teeth, though. You could tell by
Woo!
when she talked.
Tell a lot of things about her. She must be ball plastic. Come right from Silicon Valley. Reveals defense marriage is required in the U.S. federal government is that U.S. states and territories. It was all of them. It's the recognized. See, it says the Supreme Court ruled on Obergefell and Hodges that the 14th Amendment requires all U.S. states to recognize the same-sex marriages. This decision rendered the last remaining provision of DOMA unenforceable and made same-sex marriage federal law. The future of same-sex marriage in the United States is put back into question in 2022 when a concurring opinion by Justice Clarence Thomas in Dobbs versus Jackson's Women's Health argued that courts should reconsider government to recognize same-sex marriage and interracial marriages, codifying parts of Obergefell and 2013 ruling in the United States, Windsor and the 1967 ruling in Loving versus Virginia. In addition, it compels all U.S. states and territories to recognize validity of this is all about same-sex and interracial marriages if performed in a jurisdiction without one taking place.
Well, it still falls under freedom of religion.
Yeah, right. So if you got marriage or gay on you right now, you're covered. Well, prior to the Supreme Court's 1967 ruling in Loving, miscongeniation laws.
Yeah, it was because you could not marry outside of your race in Virginia.
Oh, okay.
Loving versus Virginia was an interracial couple, a white dude and a black woman, who he kept getting arrested here in Virginia. But in DC, it was okay. So a lawyer came, took it to the Supreme Court, and they won.
Oh, wow.
It's a good story. You should watch the documentary. They even had 3 kids.
Oh, wow. Even a lot more wow.
They didn't even go to the court hearing.
Wow. Okay. Here's what some people granted right to reconsider. So, argued that courts should go further in future cases, reconsidering other past Supreme Court decisions that granted rights based on substantive due process, such as Griswold versus Connecticut, Lawrence versus Texas. And then in 2022, the House passed bills aimed to protect the rights that Thomas had mentioned. With respect for Marriage Act, specifically ensuring the right to same-sex and interracial marriages would remain part of federal fund laws, even if the court doesn't have rules.
Well, one of the reasons that they ruled that is because did you know that Clarence Thomas's wife is white?
I did not know that. That's very funny.
He's in an interracial marriage.
Yeah. I had no idea.
I just sent my email address, so send me that Trump law putting funding towards the homes to prevent services. Yeah, I need that.
Okay. Email to Tiff. Yeah, so don't let them come in there and then just barge their way in and then tell you, because first of all, they're going to lie to you. They're going to say, "Oh, we'll give you your kids back if you leave them or whatever."
That's blackmail.
That's bullshit. Yeah, that's bullshit. They're not going to, let's come up with another reason why they can't reunify you, because then they're going to have like this,
it's just going to be another excuse, even if you leave.
Right. You're never going to get your kid back because of it. It's going to be a lie. So don't do it because of them. Do those things because of yourself.
Yeah, because then they'll say they saw you two together somewhere. You won't have the
Yeah.
kids, and then they'll hit the other parent with failure to protect.
Yeah.
It's bullshit. You have a right to stay in a marriage, but if somebody is whooping your ass, then you do need to leave.
Then you leave. My God, you get the hell out of there.
Yeah. But the
That's the
Nicholson
truth.
case, I actually
Mhm.
found the Nicholson case,
Yep.
and we need to start using that more in quote unquote domestic violence situations, because all they're doing is re-victimizing the victim.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, that's it. They're just coddling they're just coddling and making it acceptable to be the victim, I guess. Not meaning that that's wrong. You know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
They're making it so Nicholson, if you guys don't know what that is, means that there is a degree of domestic violence that can take place with or without the child around. That doesn't mean that you guys have to leave the house, because every time they try to make someone leave the house and the man always ends up leaving or getting arrested or whatever, there's some case law that which is called Nicholson versus I don't
it
remember who.
starts with an S.
Nicholson versus someone with an start with an S.
Yeah,
It says right in there that like just because there's been some sort of domestic violence doesn't mean that both parents have to, a parent has to leave their home. And it doesn't mean that it's always, the case either that you're guilty. So definitely check that stuff out. I think it's from like 1984 or something,
yeah.
1983 or something like that.
Well, in most states now, they hit you with mutual combat. So you both go to jail.
Oh my God, that's what you need. That's just the way that they want it too. They want it that way, so it's so easy when you get a child in this shit. Just come along and get in jail, both of you, so we can just take your kids. That's just what they want to do. No doubt in my mind.
Yeah, it's terrible. Anyway, by any means necessary, they need to pull children out to make money.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it is.
Well, they won't ignore it if I got it, because I will blast that shit and I will send it to Darren and he can blast it too.
Yep, we're going to send this one around and around and go. Started with me, but I don't know where it went to. But it's going to get around now.
So what's going on up your way? Where the cats at?
Whew. A little bit here, a little bit there. I think most of them are outside right now, hanging out, having a good time. The ticks are awful up here this year. I don't know how they are down there in Virginia, but that's definitely a thing that we're looking at, because they're just freaking terrible up here. I mean, the cats come in and they're just infested. It's like they sit in the house like, I don't want to go outside, because they know they're coming back with these things just stuck all over them. It's ridiculous. They bad down there too?
No, but stink bugs are.
Ugh, I hate those things so much. Mm-hmm. Oh man, that's crazy. Yeah, but the ticks are awful up here. I'm just reading this domestic violence stuff. This stuff is insane. The amount of time and the stuff that they put into this is ridiculous. December 15th, right there. Yeah, the ticks up here are awful. The temperature's nice. It's 77. Haven't heard a lot in the realms of child protection, other than a lady got a hold of me yesterday when I was just looking at my mail briefly. This lady that from New Hampshire got in touch with me, and she wants to get together and try to work on some things for her case. So that's cool. She's only 35 minutes away from me. So I told her I don't know what I'm going to be able to do short of what you've already done. But, we'll give it a whirl. We'll give it a look. She's been fighting for like 5 or 6 years now. Now, if you how do you know if they're done with you in your case? Like if you've already gone through, let's say, like you've been TPR'd, or you've been, like they pretty much, that they wash their hands. How do you know that they're done, short of getting a notification from them saying that we're done with our investigation?
Well, they're supposed to send you a letter stating that your case is closed or you've been TPR'd or
Yeah.
whatever. They're supposed to send you a letter, but you can
Okay.
always go to the courthouse
Okay.
because the
And then they'll
courthouse
give
is
you
supposed to know.
right. And then they'll give you a template or something that you can use to.
You should be able to find out at the courthouse if they won't give it to you.
Okay. And then how easy is it to lose that once you get it on? Like, is it something that's going to be irreversible once you do it?
What?
If you go to the courthouse, you tell them that this is going on?
What, that you
And
need a
that's,
copy of it? Oh, my cat just
yeah.
stuck his in my fan. Hold on a minute. Get your nose out of there.
That's stuck in your fan?
He got here. Stop. He got his nose clipped by the fan.
Oh, that's
He's
crazy. So
staring
did
at it.
mine.
He's a
My
hot
dude
mess.
got his little nose. You see that he got his nose in it because he sits there and looks out the window all the time. He's got a little pink spot.
Yeah.
I think he puts
You're
his face in
supposed
the
to
fan
get a
when you're-
closure letter. If you don't get a closure letter, you should go to the courthouse and ask because they have to submit it to the court.
Okay. Is there anything that you need to look for in that closure letter? Is it all just common sense? Look it over and everything else.
Yep.
Yep. Common sense.
But some states have or adoption laws like Virginia, where they don't even have to notify you when they terminate your rights.
Oh wow, that's some bull stuff right there.
Yeah, it's a backdoor law, backdoor code here in Virginia. That CPS uses to terminate parental rights, and then they'll send you a letter after they terminate you.
Right.
Which is a 14th and a 5th Amendment violation of due process.
Wow.
Danny's actually working with a girl here. He's so nosy. A girl here that had her rights terminated, and she's going to try and get it overturned.
Oh wow.
Virginia is very hard to get shit overturned, though. Virginia is hard.
Well, they got the right woman for that stuff.
Yep. So we'll see. The good thing is the child was adopted by a family member.
Right.
I don't know what's going to happen now, but I know Spanning is on it.
Right. That's good. So we need to get a house passage. We need to get on some things here so that we can get in this game too.
Yeah. All I know is it's Rule 60. That's all I know.
Yeah, it's 60. Yeah, she does. She likes that Rule 60B, which is what I use up here in Maine to help people. And it is. Here it is right here. It's for the relief of judgment of an order, and it allows you to be able to use newly discovered information in aquarium, like all of these different places you can as X2.
She said, and you have to have like 5 mistakes in your TPR hearing. And she said she can find more than 5 in all of them. Come on.
Yeah, I don't know about. You gotta have lack of due process is one of them, obviously. Ineffective counsel is one. Jesus Almighty, let me turn this down. People yelling on that scanner sometimes drive me nuts. I always have to have the scanner on in case I'm on it. You know what the hell's going on in my life.
Yeah, right. I hear you.
You never know. You never can tell. And I tell you what, I need to stand up. Yeah, so the 60B is like it is kind of like a get out of jail free card because it allows you to not just appeal things, not appeal, but use thing that's on your case. Like an appeal, you can only appeal what's on your trial,
Right.
So you can use you can use new information on an appeal. On a 60B, I mean.
I'll have to look at it.
So I don't know if every state has one. I know that there's a federal one and a state one, but I know that Maine has one, Virginia has one. But yeah, it allows you to use new information. It allows, like I said, there's ineffective counsel. There's let's see. Says if the right to make a motion is lost by the expiration of the time limits fixed in these rules, the only other procedural remedy by a new or independent action to set aside a judgment upon the principles which have before been applied in such as a Rule 60B. And that's talking about like an appeal. If you lost, like your appeal got, you didn't put your appeal in a timely way or whatever, you can do that.
Well, I looked up Virginia's reinstatement of parental rights.
Oh yeah.
You can do it if the child has not been adopted. You can do it if the child is 14 years or older, and not been adopted. It's a lot, but it does not
Right.
guarantee that you get your kids back, even if you get your parental rights back.
Right, and then you still have to worry about, here's the thing, and this is what people don't think about, and I didn't realize this either, but you have to think, you still have to go and back to that lower court, and that lower court has to release your kids to you.
You have to
which
what?
is really
You broke
messed up. What's that?
You broke up. Say it again.
I said, you still have to go back to that lower court, and the lower court has to reverse their decision and give you your kids back. I know this guy that 2 times he's beaten the lower courts in his appeal or in the superior courts, and they still, for 10 years now, they have not returned his kids.
Why?
I don't know. And he's true to this day. I've seen the paperwork. It says that the Supreme Court ruled in his favor, that they reversed the decision and all this stuff, and they had to go back to the lower court, and the lower court had to grant them the authority to get the child or whatever, and they never will. They've never done it. They won't do it.
Well, that's kidnapping. That's violation of a court order.
That's what we're working on now for him, because it's been 10 years, like I said. His wife ended up dying because of this. She ended up unaliving herself because of this, because she couldn't take it anymore, the whole nine. He got very, very sick with cancer. He beat cancer and all that stuff. But that could be attested to that, like the pain and suffering and all that stuff that he's done, and that could be attested to that for his body.
Yeah. Somebody asked, how much court procedure do you think should be taught in schools? I think everybody should know how the court system works. I think everybody should be taught the Constitution and their rights. They teach the Constitution about the way the government works, but they don't talk about your rights. I think my kindergartner knows his Fourth Amendment rights. He'll tell me, quick, get out of my room, because he wants his privacy. I think they should be taught when they can comprehend stuff.
Right. Yeah, that's David Bridges just said, have you guys heard of anyone with success trademarking their kid's name, put on a t-shirt, selling them one to grandma, and then suing any public servant who uses it without permission? I've heard of them talking about that a million times. I've heard of people that have done it. I don't know where. It doesn't seem like it grabbed any water or it holds any weight, because you would see a bunch of people doing that right now if that was the case. That's just where I'm going with that. Like if you knew that they could stop that by trademarking their name so that they couldn't put their name on paperwork, then because that's the idea behind it, is that those people are no longer allowed to say their name or use their name, so you can't go after them from from the CPS vantage point, because you don't give them authority to do that. Like they're you're whatever, their owner, you own their name, or however that works. Have you ever heard anybody using that stuff, or letting it work and then trying it out?
No, I told you what works for me. First one to the courthouse wins.
Yep. I like you. I like yours. So no. How much corpus do you think should be taught? Well,
If you go and read their manual for your state, it has all that information in there. They don't even know what their own policies and procedures are. That's why you have to call them out on that shit. I mean, just randomly
right.
say, blase, 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 blase. They don't even know the law because they're using codes and statutes, rules, regulations, and ordinances. Those are not laws. Every state
Right.
has one law,
Yep.
and it's the state constitution. The United States of America has one law, and that is the United States Constitution. So the state has their own, and then the nation has one. So yeah. Call them on their bullshit. Call bullshit.
Yep. Absolutely.
Protect the
Do it.
law. Because they're going to come with a code or a statute or an ordinance or a rule or a regulation or a policy. Those are not laws. And we have case files to prove that they're not laws. And these aren't federal case files. These are Supreme Court cases.
Right.
And even if they were federal and Supreme Court cases apply in state court cases, period, end of story.
Yep.
Don't let them people lie to you. Call them on their bullshit, and even the judges. No.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you that they can't use the Constitution in that court and all that stuff, all that mumbo jumbo, and that's all bullshit lie.
And then
all of it's a freaking lie.
And then they lose jurisdiction. They just levied war against the Constitution and the people because we, the people, are the beneficiaries of the Constitution.
It's strange that we're the owners and the beneficiaries,
Yeah. We are the beneficiaries, not the government. The government doesn't have rights. It's an entity. It's not a living, breathing person. Oh my
and
God.
that's crazy too, that an entity can come after us and take our kids and everything, but we can't go after an entity. It's strange that the separation of powers doesn't apply to that aspect of things, which is really crazy. It doesn't.
Well, here's the thing. You can sue the town, the county, everybody's different, the parishes, whatever, right? You can sue them and the people that did this. But to sue the state, the attorney generals of every state has to agree to be sued. That's the only difference. Only the states are sovereign. Okay? Only the states, even though the Constitution says we're a sovereign people. But if you play that sovereign card in court, you're going to jail, period, end of story. They don't want to hear it.
Right.
This fool is stretched out on my printer and got his head on my shoe rack.
They do the damnedest things.
And he's knocked out.
Yeah, they just go down. And it's so funny. Cassie just be sitting they'll be walking right in front of you and then just, you know what I mean? Like, don't even matter. They walk right in your path. They don't care. Just, see you later. Go and have a nap. I came out the other day and then one was in my boot. Just sleeping away. I'm like, what the hell? And I'm like, come on, little dude. And he didn't even care. I rolled the boot over. He just was. These cute little bastards. Don't fall in love with them, Darren. You're selling them. They're being sold. So if anybody needs kittens, I know where to get them. Yeah, David Bridges used to talk about that a lot. David Bridges. David Straight used to. David Bridgers. And David Street's where I actually learned that whole thing. So if David Street used to talk about it, then chances are good. Well, number one, I know it's a real procedure and a process that people go through. I don't know the outcome. I don't know. I just, you just don't hear a lot of people. But here's the thing. I bet you a lot of people that do win and they get their kids back with some of the stuff that they do, shenanigans, I call them, to get their kids back. I bet they don't tell anybody. Oh, thank you, Mary. I get a sticker, she says. I bet you that they probably all say, well, you know what? I got my kids. See you later. Bye. They don't want to get back involved with the system. They want to be, far away from the system. They don't want to be in contact with anybody. They don't want nothing. I bet you that's a big, big problem that we're having in the United States.
Well, here's the thing. When I help people and they get their kids back, I only want two things. I either want you to advocate or send people to me and a thank you, because I don't want your money. I want your kid home. That is priceless to me. That you can't even pay me enough money to help get your kid home, because nothing is a guarantee, not even life, right? You can walk out your front door and get shot. You can get in your car and go to the convenience store around the corner and
Yep.
get hit by a
Get hit by
car.
a bus. Yep.
Right.
Mhm.
That's the only two things I tell people. Either you start advocating because you've learned the system, or you send them to me and a thank you. That's all I need.
Yep. That's nice. That's how fast you think you'll be able to sit in the docket and everything up there, huh? Or are you just going to own them on the playing field?
Say that again.
I said, what, are you just going to own them right there, right out in the open? You know what I mean? Just
Yeah,
going to
I
school
don't
them right
care.
there out in the open?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And wait till my next rally. I'm going to have people up there
Which is the
speaking about their
22nd.
cases. 22nd.
Mm-hmm.
We have people that are going to start speaking out, and we're going to be live. Um, and I want people to start speaking out. I think if we get people to start speaking out at rallies or
Mm-hmm.
whatever you want to call it, I think that they will learn to get a backbone and stand up.
Mm-hmm. I agree. It's still fresh with people. It's still new. You know what I mean? So they don't know. It's like we got to build their trust back, like with these people that, like they feel like they've been betrayed or whatever. They don't want to put their neck out there yet until they know for sure that, something happens that we're going to be right there for them, or you or me or whatever, because, it's that, like, okay, guys, I'll believe you. But if I do this, are you guys still going to be there for me? You know what I mean? Like that type of thing. Because so many people go out there and they give these people these false claims and all of this stuff, and then no one's there to be, like when they go and do this stuff, there's nothing but crickets behind them. And where is everybody that supposedly was going to back them with this or do this or this new bill that was written or whatever? No one's there for them, and that's there's no trust. There's no trust at all. And I think there's a lot of that going on with this, with the advocates, because there's a lot of advocates out there that'll say they're going to do one thing, they don't do it, or they do the other, or, like the biggest one is them paying people and not only advocating for them, but not getting a license back. Like that's huge, or not a license back, but
Their
oh man,
kids.
yeah, well, yes, getting your kids back, your license, you idiot. You got to understand people where I just came from. Um, you can't, if they tell you that they're going to get your kids back, then go far away from who they are, because you're not any person that guarantees you that they can get your kid back is a freaking liar, and they're definitely some sort of a thief or a scheme or a scam, or that's the word, scam. They're a scam. So don't go if they're like, oh, I'll get you your kids back. Stay right the frig away from that. It doesn't matter if you had $1 billion. You're not getting your kids back if they don't want you to have your kids back. That's it. That's the simple fact of the matter. So don't follow yourself out doing that stuff like those other idiots.
Even a good lawyer will tell you we got a good case, but I can't guarantee anything.
Right. Yep. Yep. Absolutely. You're damn right. Um, where is that? Hold on a second here. Law 101, looking for something.
When people are suppressing you, that's where fear comes from. Oh yeah, I think I got that book.
Yeah, this is a great book.
Fear
Go
is
on.
oppression, right? And that's how
Right.
they control you. Don't let anybody control you. Not me, not them, not the judge. No. I wish I thought somebody would try and control me, because I'm going to tell you right now, it is going to backfire, because I have my own will, and I am a force to be reckoned with when you piss me off.
Yeah. Yep.
And that doesn't matter who you are. Sometimes I forget when my kids piss me off that they're my kids.
Jesus.
And if they see this, they'll be like, "Yup, she sure does."
Oh,
Yeah,
Jesus, there she is. Yeah.
because I'm quick to ask somebody who the fuck they're talking to, because I'll even look around before I ask them.
Yep. Make sure you're going to yell at the right person.
No, I want to make sure they're talking to me before I ask them who they're talking to.
Oh, okay.
I do that to one of my grandsons now. He'll be like, "You stay out of it." I'm like, "Who you talking to?" He'll be like, "The
No, you
wall."
ain't talking to me like that, boy. Right.
And I said, "That's what I thought."
Okay. I'm looking up this thing right here, this book. For that, I'm interested to see if this is in here, and it is. There is something about the trust laws. Let me see. All right. Here we go. Power of attorney and trust. Because there's a lot of people too that say that, write a power of attorney for your kid. If CPS is coming, you write a power of attorney, and that's the way to stall them. Also, is grant. But is it power of attorney or guardianship that you got to transfer to make CPS? Like if I granted you guardianship of my child, or power of attorney, or whatever one it is, what, if they're coming, which one is the one that allows them to back off? Like which one's the one that CPS has to go back through some other ways to jump
Well,
through hoops?
I tell my parents, right? And I normally only tell my parents that are having babies that I know are going to get trapped in a hospital. Before you go to the hospital, and it's so much easier if you're having a C-section, because you know everything. You know the date, you know everything. Anyway, I tell them before they have their babies to write up a guardianship or custody paper giving whomever guardianship or custody of the child on this date, with the child's name, have it notarized, file it with the court, and take it to the hospital, so that if CPS comes, they do not override custody orders, period. They still have to take you to court. So no child means no case. I've had that work. I've even told grandparents, aunts, and uncles, if you know the day this baby's coming, the minute that baby takes its first breath, go down to the courthouse, file for emergency custody. First one to the courthouse wins. I can't say that enough. I can't stress that enough. And that's how kids get out of foster care.
Right. It says a guardianship is normally established when a person is considered to be incompetent to manage his or her own personal financial affairs and possessions, and therefore needs to have a guardian appointed to manage those affairs. In such a proceeding, the local courts first determine the person to be incompetent or otherwise incapacitated, and that designates a guardian or a conservator to manage that person's estate and perhaps also to manage that person's life. The guardian then becomes the decision maker for that person in all aspects and is allowed by the court order.
Well, let me tell you something really funny. Larry called me one time with this chick on the phone looking for a child here in Virginia, right?
Yep.
He said, she gave the child to somebody else, da 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 da. I said, here in Virginia, you can sell your child and it is not illegal.
Wow.
They cannot interfere with a private contract. That is a private contract made before CPS came into the equation.
Okay. Wow.
And that's custodial interference and
Oh,
interference
there's
with
a lot of that, right? There's a lot of that custodial interference going on with these foster parents. There's, you know what, you should definitely put up a red flag if you have a kinship situation and then they're telling the kinship people to get foster parent. I know that they're doing it to everybody. Like in Maine, I think every person that is going to get one of these children have to go and get a foster license for their home and for
No, they do
themselves.
not. They do not.
Right, but I'm saying CPS, they say that that's a requirement to do it, and they do that so that they can get the funding.
Yep.
There's no, like Tiff says, like she can't even buy a French fry for her grandkids. They don't give her nothing. Like she's not going down their wormhole with this stuff.
I'm not signing
But
a
if they're
contract with the state.
right, like she says, like it should be, look at what difference, $1,500 or $3,000 check would make in your life if you got that,
And then I would be no better than a foster parent. Because these are my blood. If my blood is running through their veins, I'm going to take care of them.
Right.
And I just wish that more kinship would show up to the door and say, you're not doing this. This is my blood and I'm taking them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can sign up to be a kinship. I mean, that's fine if that's what you want to do. But you're contracting with the state and they will enter your home at any time. They will do whatever they want. No, no, absolutely not. I don't need money that bad.
Guardian appointment. Okay. The way to accomplish the same objective of guardianship is through a durable power of attorney.
Also, check with your states because Darren said that they have a probate court up there. Virginia is not a probate state.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to check with your state. I know Texas is. Delaware is not a probate state. I think Maryland is a probate state. So you have to check your probate courts too, because apparently this is also how CPS is running through those probate states.
Right. Agreement. Where one person. Property relied on trust. Right.
Who said that?
The actually conveys the property, making her the legal owner of the property. But she can only use it for your benefit. On your death, the trust assets would go to the beneficiaries designated in the trust.
I've even had parents put their children in their living wills and willed them off to somebody.
Wow, that worked too?
Well, I don't know. They didn't die, but when they did a living will, the children were in the living will. I guess they did it as a precaution.
Huh.
John, I
Well,
have yet to meet a social worker that tried to make me look dumb. It actually happened in reverse. And
buddy,
I'm not a
whoa.
hero or on God status, but you can best believe I get on my fucking white horse. And if they bring it to me, they're gonna get what they come for, me.
Yeah, you don't want to wake that monster up.
No.
Hey, buddy. Um, yeah, so back to Mr. David's question there. I don't know if that whole trust thing is work, if it will work, if it will work. Um, I don't know how that stuff goes. If that's something that's viable.
I don't know either. I've never done it.
Yeah, I would put more weight on. I don't even know what you should put your weight on. Like when you're doing in these cases, I really don't. It's tough. It's just a hard thing. You don't know what you're getting for a caseworker. You don't know what their supervisors are. You don't know what their mindsets are. You don't know what their intentions are, whether it's for their budget, for the state because it sucks. Like they get a hold of your kid, they've got your kid. And, unfortunately, there's so much that points in the direction of you're not going to get your kid back, that it just ruins your baseline of hope, So you get a lot of these people coming out there with these fly-by-night things that they say will work to get your kid back for $50. You can learn my course for $50, how to create your own court in the United States and order them to get your kid back, and this, that, and the other. Well, that is that thing is real, except for there's certain things that you need to do and certain um, procedures that you have to go through to make it work. It's not just going to happen, if you just apply for it. So make sure you look into all that stuff if you're going to try to do these trust things and the T-shirts and all of that, because you don't want there to be some sort of repercussion that you didn't even see in there, that's going to make things worse for you. That would be real suck to just all of a sudden, boom, you're getting, something worse than what was there already.
Yeah, because don't forget, they do retaliate.
Damn right they do. They come with a vengeance.
But you
Uh,
have the hardest pill, and I say this all the time, the hardest pill I had to swallow was that everybody wasn't me. I've
yeah,
only
right.
lost one CPS case, and that was the case that started me on my journey, right? Because what
Yeah.
they did was absolutely appalling to me. So when I learned that they retaliated, I said, you know what? I'm tired of this shit. And I did. I went up there because they came after me for child support and all this other stuff. And I think my youngest daughter was like 6 months old because she wasn't walking yet. And I walked over there. I walked in their building and I said, bring the CPS supervisor out. Her name was Carol. And I told her, you step on my property to take this one because you're going to claim that I can't take care of her because you're trying to steal my money. I will blow a hole through you bigger than the Grand Canyon. I promise you that. And I walked out. That was the last time they fucked with me.
That's funny. Yeah, I don't know. But I would highly recommend any of you out there that are representing yourself get this Law 101 book, because it's got a lot of things about the procedures and things like that you should definitely know.
And not only that book, Darren's book. Then you go to Stay Calm CPS is coming.
Yep. We have a bunch of books that are getting ready to hit.
Yep. And then you also need to get the bench book for your state. Okay. They come out in October every year from uscourts.gov. You can go there and get your bench book for your state because you want to stay a step ahead of the enemy. It's got everything in there. This cat just jumped on my back. Boy. I guess he's gonna beat me up tonight.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Make sure you put your boxing gear on.
No, I'm gonna put his behind in the basement.
Oh, jeez. All right. That way the
So
doggies
get
can
the
roam
bench
free.
book, get the Law 101, and go to Amazon and buy Darren's book, Stay Calm, CPS is Coming.
Yep. It's got everything you need to know. It really is the most thorough book that I've seen out there to tell you exactly what is going on in these cases and what to do and how to do it, and comes up with different scenarios, what to look for, how to look for it, like what kind of things. Here we go.
The biggest thing is go live. I watched the live this morning. I sent it to Darren. That chick got 5 million views on CPS at the hospital that took her baby. Videos don't lie.
Nope, they do not.
CPS lies.
And they can. So
They're
if
not
you
allowed
get
to
them,
lie.
well, I mean,
Don't
they have like police do that discretion amount of
No, they do
to
not.
solve
Not
it.
CPS workers. No, they do not. Only the police
No?
can lie to you. The Supreme Court has
Oh, all
already
right.
said the only people that can lie to you are the police. Period.
Uh-huh. Oh, wow. Okay.
Yep, there's the book.
Yep. Here it is. Here we are, guys.
And it looks like it's on sale. I can't see that far. I just see a red.
Yeah, $19.99 right now. So get it, pick it up. I'll put the link up there too, so everybody can grab the link. Copy. All right, I'll put that right in here. So yeah, there's you know what? Get your resources in line. Like I keep saying, the number one thing that you've got to do is educate yourself to what you're fighting for. CPS needs to know that you mean business when they show up. Like immediately you need to put out, put on blast that you are using your Constitution. You're going to stand on your constitutional rights, because if you don't, they'll take those away from you, and it won't matter down the road, right? Like that's the thing, you got to announce that you're using your constitutional rights, and if you don't, let them know and so forth, then you're screwed and you can't use them.
Yep.
Or they'll tell you if they're not available for you to use or whatever. So it's almost like you have to not only fight and battle, you got to try to live a dream or something. Because they're just ruthless when they get a hold of you. But yeah, look at that, 100 minutes.
Wow. Then that prosecutor was practicing medicine without a license.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Darren, we're off until Monday.
All right, it's weekend time. Well, not for me yet. Tomorrow we got tonight's late show, and then we also have tomorrow night's late show, and then Saturday I'm not sure. But don't forget, guys, on the 14th we also are doing the Dear Mr. Trump videos. So we'll get a letter drafted up for a generic letter that everybody can send that to him and let him know to pay attention on that day. Yeah. And then on the 22nd, we've got Tiff's
Rally.
we got Tiff rally coming to you. So things are getting hot here in June, and we're going to support that and do all that good stuff. So next week, guys, we're out of here. Oh, no wonder I didn't hear anything. Hey, idiot.
Bluetooth connected.
Stand against the system that's gone insane. fight, let everybody know. We'll raise our fists and say aloud, no more silence, join the crowd. Abolish CPS, their rally cry. No kids for cash, we won't comply. Make parenting great, let's take a stand. Tiff and the Punisher, hand in hand. Abolish CPS, their rally cry. No kids for cash, we won't comply. Make parenting great, let's take a stand. Tiff and